To understand the tensions in the Korean Peninsula better, we need to look at why the two Koreas exist in the first place, what has led to the present state of affairs. Our next report goes into the history of the Korean conflict. Listen in.
Before World War II, there was just one Korea, and it had been under Japanese occupation since 1910. Before that, Korea was under Japan's influence from 1897 onwards. Japan's occupation officially ended on August 15, 1945. Korea was liberated, but placed under an international trusteeship. It was divided along the 38th parallel. The south was occupied by the US, the north by the Soviet Union. It was supposed to be a temporary measure till unification could be finalized. But tensions soon rose between the US and the Soviets. The Soviet Union wanted a communist regime. The US wanted to stem the rise of communism. Each nation backed leaders who shared their political ideologies. It led to the rise of Kim Il-sung in the north and Syngman Rhee in the south. The divisions deepened. In May 1946, it became illegal to cross the 38th parallel without a permit. A US-Soviet joint commission failed to break the deadlock. Finally, the US brought the problem to the United Nations in September 1947. The Soviet Union opposed UN involvement. On November 14, 1947, the UN declared that free elections should be held. The Soviet Union agreed that the UN could not guarantee free and fair elections. The UN then decided to hold elections only in the South. On May 10, 1948, the South held a general election. On August 15th, the Republic of Korea took over power from the US military. Syngman Rhee became South Korea's first president. Less than a month later, on September 9th, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was declared in the north. Kim Il-sung became its first prime minister. On December 12th, the UN declared that the Republic of Korea was the only lawful government in Korea. Tensions and violence were reported in both parts of Korea during this period. The armed forces of both sides repeatedly clashed at the border, but war between the two sides began on June 25, 1950. The North invaded the South. It captured the South's capital, Seoul, on June 28, 1950. Northern forces almost had the entire peninsula under their control, but then the US-UN South Korean counteroffensive took place. Control over Seoul was finally achieved on March 14, 1951. This was the fourth time the city was conquered during the war. This was despite Chinese troops bolstering the North's forces. A stalemate was to follow. After July 1951, the sides barely exchanged any territory. On July 27, 1953, an armistice was signed between the sides. The two Koreas have remained separate, but an armistice is not a peace treaty. Technically, both sides are still at war.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.